Welcome to this episode of Making Performance Matter, connecting employee performance to business results, with your host, Cindy Allen Stuckey.
Hello, welcome to my show. Imagine that you've recruited, you've interviewed, and you've hired the best fit for your open position. So they come to your door that very first day and they're ready to walk in. And I want you to imagine that they are like a parked running car. That car is sitting there, someone's put fuel in it, the tires are all good, it's all ready to go. And what it's waiting for is for somebody to come that knows the destination, that also knows the road map, can get it back on track when it gets off. Also at times has to stop, maybe put more, obviously put more fuel in, maybe do something else to the car. Well, your new employee is just like that. He or she is very excited about starting. And you know that that employee has the skills that you need for your open position. Are you aware that a new employee is most vulnerable to leaving the first 18 months that they're there? Pretty scary, isn't it? Now, you have one chance to make a very good impression. And usually when people hire new employees, they do something called orientation. That's usually all the HR paperwork that has to be filled in, and it also is all the legal stuff that has to be done, and the safety. What I'm going to talk to you today about is the process that I'm calling onboarding. It is different from orientation because it begins the very second that that employee signs their offer letter, and it goes through until that employee is up and running fully as an employee. Or it's the last step of the recruiting process, and it's the first step of retention. Today I'm going to give you 6 elements that need to be in place and that you need to be having in your new employee onboarding. What I recommend is putting them in a checklist, and that way you can make sure that every time you bring a new employee on, you go through that checklist and you talk about the exact same things. The first element that needs to be there is you're going to sit and you need to talk about your organization's vision, mission, values, and culture. So this new employee understands what is important to the company. The second element that should be on there is you're talking about your organization's procedures, processes, everything that is important for that company, for your company, in order to be able to do their work. And also, what is important for this individual to be able to do his or her work. Third piece that should be on there is what relationships do you want this person to be building, both internally and externally? And you, as the owner of the company, then should be helping to make sure that these relationships are starting to be built. You need to do the introductions. The fourth item is what's expected as far as performance expectations. So think about the first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. What is it that is important for this person for your new person to be able to do, and it helps give them focus. The next item, which is the fifth, is when are you going to sit down and review all of this? When are you going to talk to the individual, understand any place they're struggling, give them some more details on things that are needed? And the sixth item on this onboarding checklist would be what training is required, whether it's internal training, external, legal training that's required, but also what training is required in order for them to be able to do their job. Now, again, I put this on a checklist so that I can make sure that I go through it every single time. What you're doing here between you and your new employee, you're having dialogue, which is two-way, and you're really building that relationship, which then helps ensure that there is trust there. I know this takes time, but employees that went through a structured onboarding process are 58% more likely to be with you after 3 years than employees that didn't go through this. I invite you to go to my website, www.makingperformancematter.com, and on there I have some examples of onboarding checklists that you can pattern your checklist after or use. Thank you for attending my show and have a good day.
Thank you for watching this episode of Making Performance Matter with Cindy Allen Stuckey. For more great information, visit Cindy's website at makingperformancematter.com. Also browse the other shows found right here at Indie Biz TV Shows.